Warning. The footage you're about to see may leave you shaking your head in disbelief and questioning why this is happening. It may stir deep frustration, sadness, disappointment, or even polite disgust. In the end, it will make you understand, more clearly than ever, why so many people are talking about Indian fatigue.
What you doing with that? What you doing with that, bro? You gonna eat it?
In a park in London, a disturbing video has gone viral, showing a group of migrants pulling a live goose out of a lake and preparing to cook it right there in broad daylight. It's not just about animal cruelty, it's about what happens when cultures clash. Public parks are supposed to be a safe place, right? But when newcomers don't respect local laws or values, things get messy. In this case, it's a migrant group with no regard for the UK's customs. They just saw the goose as dinner. No thought to the public space they were in. No concern for others around them. But here's where it gets crazy. People were quick to react online. Some say, why not just buy meat from the store? Supporters, however, argue that we must respect cultural differences. Respect for animals, public order, and the common good are cornerstones of British culture. We don't tolerate cruelty, especially in public spaces where families and children should feel safe and welcome. Is this the reality of multiculturalism? Some argue it's cultural erosion, not diversity. If we can't even enjoy a peaceful walk in the park without worrying about this, what's next? What's happening to our values? What do you think? Is the UK turning into a place where we accept anything in the name of diversity? Diversity, diversity.
Catch it outside.
Yeah, it's important now.
Hold on, let me see. Let me see. Is it alive?
Broken down. Yeah.
You gonna eat it?
Eat here.
Yeah?
Eat here.
You gonna eat it, yeah? You know, why are you gonna eat it for?
Canada has only two official languages, English and French. Nevertheless, a small number of performances on the international stage has already sparked debate regarding our national anthem being sung in other languages, such as Punjabi. On one hand, some say this reflects our multicultural identity, showcasing the diverse communities that call this country home. On the other hand, it raises a serious question. Does changing the language of the anthem chip away at our national identity? At its core, being truly Canadian means holding on to the traditions and symbols that unite us all under one flag.
So I know everyone just finished celebrating their Canada Day this weekend, and I hope you all did enjoy it and whatnot. But this Canada Day felt a little bit more different, just because of the type of people that are behind Canada Day nowadays, if you catch my drift. Just a couple years ago, up until this year basically, you're basically demonized for being a Canadian. You were demonized for waving your flag. It was called a racist emblem. At one point, people would accuse a flag as a symbol of hate at one point. And this is the insane part. Those same people now are covering themselves in this sense of patriotism based on a narrative of elbows up that has nothing to do with being Canadian and has everything to do with being tolerant and accepting of how we just sold our government out to a bunch of corporate bankers and whatnot, and people that don't give a fuck about what it means to be Canadian. Because if they cared about what it means to be Canadian, they would enforce our borders. If they cared what it means to be Canadian, they wouldn't allow almost 18,000 of these new rehabilitated criminals from India into our country. And that's a fucking fact that they did that. That just shows you that it's not that they don't even care what it means to be Canadian. They don't even care to protect this country or you, the Canadian in itself. It's sickening what these people are doing. I know I might sound like a rambling baboon and whatnot, but it's God-smacking that these people are willing to go out and say that they're patriotic because they standing up to Donald Trump, who has nothing to do with the downfall of this country. The downfall of this country is attributed to just straight up incompetent people and uneducated voters that are unwilling to look at the government and question what they are feeding them. Because if that was the case, we wouldn't have gone through COVID. If the government cares about us so much, why the hell do we have rehabilitated criminals from overseas, but we can't even rehabilitate the Canadians that are there? We can't even rehabilitate the Canadians that fought overseas, come home and get dumped on the floor. And you want to tell me you're proud to be Canadian when we have Canadians who are serving now that have to ask their parents or loved ones back home to send them a fucking pair of socks because they don't get covered by our own tax dollars. So where the hell is it going? What is it? What are you proud of right now? It's one thing to be a proud Canadian, but to embed that in such debauchery is disgusting. That's the part that pisses me off about Canada right now, and Canadians in general. Wake the fuck up.
I really don't care who this video pisses off at this present moment anymore. I truly don't. There is absolutely no jobs for born and raised generational Canadians in this country anymore.
Okay, between 2005 and 2015, while the Conservatives were in power for almost a decade, there was approximately 2.7 million immigrants brought into Canada. Then, between 2015 and 2024, while the Liberals were in power for almost a decade, that number almost doubled to 4.3 million. So to answer your question, yes, we did have immigrants during the Conservative government. However, Canada is now full, and yet we are still being overrun with new immigrants while our citizens are living in tents or on the street.
I was born here. I pay my taxes here. I'm raising my children here. This is my home. And lately it feels like I'm not allowed to say that without an apology. I'm not racist. Truly, I'm not. I don't judge people by their skin color. I believe in kindness, decency, and shared humanity. I've welcomed others, embraced diversity, and taught my children to treat everyone with respect. But something has shifted in Canada. I am not sure we're even allowed to talk about it without being attacked.
I know about the generation that's below me that are looking for a job, 3 years and counting. I know a lot of people my age looking for jobs, 3 years and counting. I know a lot of people, 3 years and counting, looking for a job here in Canada. So, I think that there's a huge, and I mean huge issue in this country currently when it comes to housing, when it comes to jobs, when it comes to security, period, okay? And it's got to stop soon. So, as long as you keep voting in Liberals, you're going to have Liberal problems over and over and over again. Because seriously, I walked up the street the other day, okay? I'm currently employed, but, okay, I'm only employed part-time, so I'd love a full-time job. So I walked down what is called White Ave the other day, okay? For hire, for hire, for hire, for hire, for hire. I have dropped off resumes at all of these places, okay? A lot of them are restaurants, looking for either line cooks, looking for dishwashers, looking for servers and everything else, okay? I got my culinary, I have customer service, I have everything. For Christ's sakes, I used to own a restaurant at one point in time, so I think I even know how to run one, okay? Not one phone call back whatsoever on anything, period. Whether giving a resume online or actually physically showing up and dropping off a resume. So please explain to me who these jobs are for, because it definitely ain't for Canadians anymore.
You are not Canadian, we are Canadian. This is our country, you are invaders. We are native Indian. You go back. Go back. You white people, go back to your Europe. Go back to your England.
I'm tired of being called a colonizer by people who weren't even alive when history happened. I'm tired of being made to feel ashamed of the color of my skin. I'm tired of hearing that I have no culture and no roots because I'm white. I'm tired of watching my homeland change so drastically and so rapidly, and yet being told I'm hateful for even noticing. When people chant death to Canada in the streets, they're celebrated. When truckers wave Canadian flags and ask for freedom, they're criminalized. When food banks are overwhelmed, housing drives up, and crime rises, we're not even allowed to ask why. We're just told to be quiet, and if we're white, to check our privilege. But where do we go when we feel displaced? Where do we turn when our concerns are dismissed as racism? Where do we belong if not in the very country our ancestors helped build, protect, and call home? This is not about hate. This is about loss. The morning of Canada that once felt united, where being Canadian meant something shared, something solid. Now it feels fractured, foreign, and unfamiliar. I want to be clear. I don't hate others, but I refuse to hate myself. I have the right to love my culture, my values, my way of life. Just like anyone does, I have the right to protect my future. My children will inherit. I have the right to say this is my country too. So no, I'm not racist. I'm just tired. Tired of walking on eggshells in a land that should feel like home. Tired of being erased in the name of inclusion. Tired of being silent to keep the peace while everything I love quietly disappears. I won't stay silent anymore because I love Canada, because I love truth, and because I still believe we're worth saving.